All right, guys. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining. Just give me 1 second here. Awesome. Good evening, guys. Thank you, everyone, for joining the ITHD June 26th batch. This is the first batch for this month. Thank you so much for everyone for joining. I know there's some people, this is going to be the first day class, and some people, this is the permanent class, which is very good. Thank you so much. And I know you guys have already watched through the 20 minutes video, the introduction video. Thank you so much for watching through and, asking questions. And some of you I did meet on one-on-one before you guys joined on the class. Some of you I couldn't because of my time constraints that I have with other courses and other work as well. So I just want to give a small introduction about this course. Just briefly, as you guys already watched in the 20 minutes video. And then what I want to do is I want to give you guys 10 to 15 minutes to introduce yourself. And I'm looking for these three things. Introduce yourself and tell us why you are looking to get into IT. And if you have any background in IT, or if you ever have any education background in IT, okay? Just so we get to know each other when we start working with it. And then tell us your goal. What is your goal for the next 3 months, 6 months, or 1 year, okay? Just so we want to see if that's aligned, and then I can give you some pointers on there too. And part of this course is you will have one-on-one sessions with myself, and you can always request the one-on-one sessions through WhatsApp or through email as well, which I'll go through today. The first thing that we will go through, and I want to tell you guys, is I am on a water fast, so my speaking will be a lot faster. If you guys don't understand, please let me know, and I will slow it down, okay? But I will try to slow myself naturally down. In case that I ever go too fast, just unmute yourself and be like, hey, Athavan, you're going too fast, man. And I will slow down, okay? That's not a problem at all. But just so we get started, I'll just give you a small briefing introduction about this course and what you can expect, okay? This is a 10 weeks course. You guys have already watched the video. And week 4 and week 5, there will be an assignment for you guys to do, which is a part of an Azure setup, which includes the RBAC roles, IAM, MFA troubleshooting, and you'll also do troubleshooting part of the week 3 and week 4. Week 1 and week 2, you guys will be learning about networking basics and troubleshooting, okay? And there will be a homework part of these classes too. Nothing new, but it'll be something you'll watch through our LMS portal. And as I mentioned in the 20 minutes video, this course has been split into 2 sections, which I'll just share with you guys over here, so you guys get to know that properly. There you go. Okay, so this is our LMS. And I know 3 of you guys already have access to it because you guys already joined the course. Give me 1 second. So I'm just going to log in so you'll see as me. Okay, let me go sign out. Okay, there we go. Let's sign back in. Perfect. Okay. Okay, perfect. Okay, so this is part of our LMS. This will include your own class recording and pre-recorded video. There's a bunch of it. You guys won't see this stuff, okay? You'll see what is associated with you, which is the ITHD. I'll just search it up here because we do have a lot of courses, a lot of live courses too, and previous courses. And part of this course is you will have access to the LMS minimum up to 6 months, okay? The reason why we say minimum 6 months is just in case. Last year, we didn't expect the student count to go beyond 200, so our LMS system did crash just sort of end of last year. So we got our own dedicated LMS. We got our own dedicated server to host our LMS. So this should not crash. At least we can expand on these, but what we are planning to do is you'll have at least minimum 6 months access, but let's say you do need access further after you've lost the access after 6 months, you can ask us to extend it, okay? So you'll have all the resources. When you log into your LMS, you'll be presented with your course, which is ITHD June 26th. This is your batch ID. So every time you guys email us, we want you to put the batch ID in so we know which batch you're part of. We do have several batches sometimes running in a month. Just this month, we have only one batch running this month because of all the other courses that we're running, okay? So when you log in, you will be able to pick up the meeting links from here, okay? From next meeting, it'll be a completely different link. So you can go into your LMS portal once you join the course. The link will be here, and the staff will send you a WhatsApp message as well with the joining link. You have access to my email and the center's email as well. And this one, you get login information to our ticketing system. So part of IT, it's very important, is knowing the ITIL foundational tools. Part of it, one of the best tools you can ever get used to is ticketing system. This is a live ticketing system, and you see these are our previous students who goes in there to play around, to put tickets in, to get familiarize themselves with the ticketing system. And part of this course is you will have access to your own account in the ticketing system, so you can log tickets, solve tickets, close tickets, reassign tickets. If you don't know what that is, don't worry. Well, that's part of this course, okay? You will go through them. The next thing is, you'll see these green mark over here. This is where your live recording. So this class, once this class is done, we will put this class recording in here under the green recorded live class section. And this is where we go our pre-recorded sessions. And they're not too long. They're about 15 to 20 minutes, 25 minutes videos. The reason it is, we figured out in the past 4 years is there's some theory stuff we don't have to cover in class. When we're in class and we're spending quality time, I want this to be hands-on or something meaningful. These classes are pre-recorded for you to have a good understanding of the class, okay? But it doesn't mean that we will not talk about it. Every time you come in every week for the class, the first 15 to 20 minutes will be dedicated to talk about the recording class, pre-recorded class, okay? These things are very simple. They're explained in a way you don't have to have any knowledge whatsoever. And part of this course is you do not need any IT or technical background. As long as you guys can join from a Google Meet and know how to use a computer, basic computer usage, we can train you on it, okay? We just need your commitment to it and discipline to this course. Okay, so everything will be there. Your assignments will be posted here as well. Okay, so you guys can go ahead and download it and do the assignments. And part of this assignment, part of this things too, you get resources for passing certifications. We will talk about the certification that is currently in the market next class, even more in depth. But part of this course is for you to be successfully landing a job after you complete the course. We do ask you complete 1 or 2 of 3 certifications that we will talk about. Okay? And I'll talk about it in this course too. In this class too. It's not a big deal for me. But I want to show you is you get resume templates here that you can work with. This has been in the market and it's getting people to the interview state, okay, itself. And then you do have our own custom ATS format checker. If you don't know what this is, we will explain about the ATS format system that we have built that helps our student to be more successful in landing a job, okay, when you create your resume. This is to check your resume against a job description. What are the chances of you entering into an interview, okay? So now that's briefing about this course, and these are just some free videos that we put up there that students in the past have used to pass some of their examinations, okay? The top 3 certifications currently in the market right now is ITIL, A+, and AZ900. There's a Microsoft Office, Microsoft 365 examination. They're just finalizing the examination now. We'll get to know more about it. But these things has been always a pillar of a certification. We give you free resourcing for it, okay? The certifications are extra. They're not part of this thing, but we will tell you where to go and buy them exactly. So don't worry about it. When the time comes next class, we will have a sit-down conversation about where to go and purchase those certifications, okay? If you do need to buy the voucher codes for them. Sometimes, like Microsoft 900, we can get you 50% discounted code from the Microsoft side, and you do have access to it. We will give you access to it from here. You'll get a link in here to get a 50% off. Yeah. So virtual training, you'll get a 50% off on the examination, okay? So that doesn't knock some out. And this is a very easy certifications for you guys to get. We'll talk more about it in the next class. Not a problem, but week 10 will be the last class, but every week is so precisely made, and don't worry about, you struggling anything. We're always here to help, okay? But we just need the commitment and discipline for you guys to continue this course and go through with the 10 weeks, okay? And part of this course is you do get job support. So once you complete this course and get us 1 certification, any one of them, we will start, refining. Even before you get certification, we can start, once you pass this course, we can start working on your resume, refining your resumes, and making sure you can start applying. We do have some recruiters who we work with too. But part of the entry level courses are the recruiter market right now is a bit slow, to be very transparent, open. But Indeed and LinkedIn, it is very high. Even just about 2 3 weeks ago, people are getting from the old batch, which is the February batch that we did, is getting calls in for interviews now. Okay, so the market is very hot, especially for entry level. I know some of you guys might think that AI is coming in, will it replace me? Not for the entry level itself. Okay, entry level IT is still needed, level 1, level 2. And remember, with this course, you do get exclusive insights to IAM and RBAC based training that is needed in the corporate world right now. Okay, so that's part of it. That accelerates your experience to about 1 year, 1.5 years as well. Okay, we will give you experience by completing this course as well. You will get a default 2 years experience by completing this course as well. Okay, that is part of this course as well. Now, I want to start with one of you guys. Please raise your hands, and I want you to start. Just introduce yourself and explain about. Just talk about yourself, your background, and the reason why you want to get into IT. Have you ever worked in IT before? I want to hear you guys. Okay. So I'll start off with Anthony. Yeah, go ahead, Kishore.
Hi guys, my name is Kishorlin. I recently graduated from University of Windsor. I did masters in applied computing, and I don't have any prior industry level experience, but I did some co-ops after graduation. It is as a technical support engineer. So deep down, I want to get into network security engineer, but for the freshers, it's really hard to get directly into a network security engineer. That's why I wanted to enter into IT support analyst, and then slowly I can move from there. That's why I wanted to know more about this course and the placement.
Very good, very good. Okay, perfect. No, and Kishoran, just want to be sure. There's no such thing as placement guaranteed once you close a computer, right? So we want to be very open and think it is. We will help you to go. We will help you to show you the right direction. It is still in your hands to apply and do with the tribe, right? So people who do that are successful. We do not apply on job behalf of you. We do not take commissions from you guys for applying for jobs. Okay, not like that. We don't do any of that type of work. Okay. Just want to be very clear and very open to you guys from the start.
Yeah, got it.
Yeah. Because I don't want to have the false impression that this is going to be perfect for you guys. If you guys don't apply, we'll apply on behalf of you. We don't do that type of work. And trust me, there's a lot of other companies that does it. It's not successful at all. The model does not work. Okay. But if you work hard, if you apply, you apply the same theme. Sorry, I'm just going to raise my desk up. If you apply the same thing that we tell you, you will be definitely successful. And we're here all the way from start to end with you. Okay. Sorry, I'm just lifting up my desk so I can stand and talk. All right. So who wants to go next? Go ahead. Go ahead. Amrinder. I think you just have to unmute yourself.
Hello.
Hey, yes, we can hear you now.
Hi, can you listen to me right now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hi, hello guys. My name is Amrinder Brad, and currently I'm working as a truck driver.
Very good.
And I just fed up from my job, and it's like my passion, to work something like in IT. And last year in August, I got my A+. And then I did some more study, and I got my Net Plus this year. And yes, and right now just I want my career in IT, so that's why I joined your course, and I'm really hopeful that I will get job. Yeah, thank you so much.
Sure. Yeah, thank you so much, Amir. And it's good. You mentioned you already got your A+, right, Amir?
Yes, I got my A+ last year in August, and this year I think maybe last month. Yes, last month I got my Net Plus, and currently like I'm preparing for Sec Plus, but I have to like delay that, and so I joined this course, so I'm pursuing this one right now.
Okay, perfect.
Yes.
The only thing, Amrit, is I always tell people this, right? Don't in the first, if you didn't enter into IT, don't get into getting too much certification at first. And I'll explain the scenario why too many certification can actually hinder you from getting a job. One is this: when I used to work as operation manager, I've been operation manager for so long, but when I used to work, right, when we put a job description for entry level role, there used to be thousands of applications. Okay, this was a Lake Ridge Hospital and Ontario Shores in Whitby. That's where I used to work. But when we do thousands of jobs, right, the ATS system will format it and give it to us like at least 10% of it. Okay, hundreds, and in the hundreds, when it's overqualified, we actually don't call them in for interview. The reason is this: let's say you're coming in with the A+, which is very good. It's a beginner level certification, perfect, okay? But if you do like Network Plus, Security Plus, and all these intermediate IT certification, what this tells us is, okay, so Amrit is coming in here, he has no experience, okay? He's coming in here for 6 months, 7 months, he's gonna stay with me, maybe a year, okay? And what is gonna happen is, because he has gotten his experience, there's gonna be a different employer that can, because I can only, when in starting off, Amrit, I can only probably give you 52,000 to 55,000 right now, okay, per year. But if you have 1 year of experience, when you jump to a different company, you'll be offered 75, 80 because now you have work experience, plus you have certifications to back you up, right? So what I would think, and it's bad, but for the company's survivability, what I would do is I would not hire these people. And this is something you'll hear across if you speak to directors or managers, especially IT manager, IT director. This is a common scenario you'll face, where it's supposed to be helping you, it actually hurts you, because we think that the jumping of roles, it happens. And to be very honest, to give you just a cost breakdown, in hospital, if I was to hire someone for a $55,000 a year role, which is an entry level IT role, right? It costs me in the background for the IT around anywhere from $13,000 to $16,000. You might ask, why is this $16,000, right? One is a recruiting fee, okay? It's around 26% to 23% if I'm going with the recruiter option. But most cases for entry level role right now, they're not doing recruiter options. It's just posted on LinkedIn, Indeed, or even like, I know we used to use Monster, but Monster is dead now. So LinkedIn, Indeed, we would probably pay about advertisement about $500 to $1,000, okay, just to boost the ad. Now that's $1,000, right? The HR person that filters your resume, they're getting paid $45 to $55 an hour. So at least they'll charge us about 2 to 3 hours of work. Now in the interview, when I'm sitting down with you, my paycheck is around $75 to $80 an hour. Whereas I need to have another person with me, which is a team lead. He's getting paid $45 to $50 an hour. Okay, these things add up, and then when you selected in the onboarding, there's a fees added, right? And then for your training, there's actually another cost added too. When you add all that up, there's something called the invisible cost, which is around $13,000 to $15,000. Even sometimes in enterprise, it's even more, larger enterprise, like 10,000, 15,000 people, right? So when we do this, my return on investment is around 2 years. So if I can only retain you for 2 years, I can get a return on investment. If you leave before 2 years, and this is happening often, I will be asked from my director or my vice president, well, why is this happening? It puts me under my job under risk as well, right? So just a background. I know it's going a little bit over, but this is why over certification sometimes does hurt. Okay, and we always tell them that be very careful when you do over certifications. It might actually hinder you from landing the entry level role.
Oh, okay, thank you.
So I know you like that Network Plus, Security Plus. Good, we'll focus on it, but just not in the front. We'll do it after you get a job. So you can focus on it. And remember, part of this course is you have unlimited, even after you graduate from the course, you can tap onto me and ask me how to get the certification. How do you actually leverage your workplace from paying for certification? That is part. So, and that's how you move up the corporate ladder, man. I know there's people that's been stuck in their role for 10 years. And I played my cards right. I know how to play the cards right to move up. And I can give you some tips and tricks around that, that's for sure.
Okay, thank you.
No problem at all. All right, who wants to go next? just tell us about yourself and your educational background, and if you have any working. Yeah, go ahead, Lewis.
Hello, everybody. My name is Luis. I live in Montreal. I'm a ramp agent at the airport, and I just wanted a career change. So it's been a year. I'm using TryHackMe, and I'm just moving on. I saw your course, and it was interesting. That's why I joined.
Very nice, very nice. Thank you. And do you have any education background in IT, Lewis, or is this your first IT course?
Yeah, it's my first IT course. Yeah.
Very good. Very good. Very good. No problem at all. Perfect. Thank you so much. And have you ever got any certifications before, Lewis? If you don't mind asking.
Not in ID.
Okay.
It's my first time ever.
Very good. Very good. Perfect. No problem at all. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining, Lewis.
Welcome.
Who wants to go next, guys?
Yeah, go ahead, please. Wamu, I'm probably pronouncing an incorrect name. If you want to just
Yeah. My name is Wamu Narcisse. I live in Ottawa.
Okay.
I'm French speaker, native French speaker. But
very nice.
I have a degree in cybersecurity.
Very nice.
Willis College, Ottawa, and I have also a certificate network security plus CompTIA.
Very nice.
That's why I want to attend a course to have more practical skills to join the.
Very nice.
To have a next level. I don't know. Thank you.
Very nice. Perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you. Who wants to go next? Yeah, go ahead, Anthony. Please unmute yourself and you can talk.
Hello, everyone. My name is Anthony. I live in Montreal, and I'm a civil engineer. Basically, I just want a career shift, and I think IT is the best place for me for now. And I really do not have any basic knowledge of IT, so I want to see how it goes. So I saw your program online, and I think it's the best one for me, basically.
Very good. Thank you so much. Thank you. Perfect. Okay. So I think that's good. Oh yeah, go ahead, Anthony. Go ahead. You have another question?
No, nothing.
Oh, okay. Perfect. No problem. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to mute everyone unless anyone else wants to talk before we go ahead and go to the class lecture. Awesome, no problem. I know there's some people going to join us between class. That's fine. They're just finishing off their shift, but we'll go ahead and I'm just muting everyone. So just between lecture, I'm just going to ask everyone to mute themselves. We will, and then once it's time, just raise your hands up, not a problem, and then you guys can ask questions. Okay, no problem at all. Give me just 1 second here. Okay. Perfect. Okay. So let's get started on our the first lecture. I know this is gonna seem like it's a bit forward, but I want to start this is because we want you to sense how the class will be, and part of this, the first part is in the LMS. Okay, so you guys, the part of it is whoever has LMS access, please go ahead and watch the week 1 video, which is where I'll show you here. So it's 2 to 3 videos that will give you introduction to IT itself. Okay, so this will give you introduction to IT team and introduction to hardware, and then we're going to do the networking level 1 right now, and then we're going to do the next class. We're going to actually do lots of hands-on exercise as well. Okay, so you guys will be, please, next class when you guys join, please join from a computer, because we're going to do some troubleshooting and tracing. We're going to actually see how does a network trace work, and what do you guys need to do to make sure you be successful in network trace. Okay, is anyone here, just raise your hands up, is anyone here using a Mac as their normal computer they join from? Just so I'm aware. Okay, perfect. Okay, perfect. Okay, just so I'm aware. Lewis, perfect. There's 2 people. Good, very good. The command line does not change. Okay, and I'll show you there's just a slight twist in command, and we'll go through it in this class as well. So you guys can get yourself familiarized with how does a network troubleshooting work. Okay, just the basic of it, so you guys understand. When we go down the course, it'll make a lot of sense to you guys. Okay, let me share this tab 1 second. And again, guys, we'll have a small break at the at the 8:30 mark, so you guys can grab a water or have some sort of small break, a 10 minutes break, nothing too long, so we can just be refreshed before we come lecture. Okay, itself. So today, the first lecture is going to be about networking fundamentals for help desk analyst. Okay, and remember, what are we going to cover in this course is what you need for a job role and be able to do your job properly. Okay, and there are certain things that you have to learn, not programming, but certain command line and how to use them. You do have to memorize them so you can be successful in your job. And there are certain things between a technician and an analyst. We're not trying to train you as a technician. Okay, we're trying to train you as an analyst, which means we're trying to develop your analytical thinking. So you'll have to do some digging around, some research. That's the reason why part of this course was you guys were given a 20 minutes video, watch that, and then ask the question, okay? It's to see who qualifies for it. We could have taken a lot of people to join this first class. We did not. It's because we don't want everyone, not everyone can do this work. You guys are here is because you guys did do that work, okay? That's the reason why. So let's get started. What is a network? So when people say what is a network is, a network is a group of devices connected together. Devices communicate to share data and resources, okay? Can be local, like in a home. Like your home has a network in it too. Your Rogers or your Bell or Videotron, whatever you guys are using for your home internet is like a network to inside your house. Or global, because the internet, like where Google is located or YouTube is located, that is also like a network too, okay? It's just a bigger network than a home. And I'll explain to you guys, I'll draw it out and I'll show you guys too just later on in this class, okay, itself. For example, of resources that you can share in a network is files, printers. Internet actually can be shared in a network, okay? Internet is separate than network itself. And then applications, okay? Why do network exist? Network solves a common problem. One, it saves money. Share one printer instead of buying 10. The reason why this is important is back in the day, when network was not a big thing, right? A lot of offices had to get a computer, and then plus on top of it, each computer will need to have its own modem. I don't know how old you guys are, but just to give you guys a background, do you guys remember the DSL modems that you have to hook up to a phone line? You'll dial up. Your computer will actually dial up to the dial-up modem and then do a like the phone ring sound before it connects to the internet. That's how internet was, which means you have to have one modem per one computer, okay? So you cannot share it. Now we're able to have one modem and share it across 200, 300 devices, right? Back in the day, it was not like that because network never existed, okay? It was just a modem connected to the internet itself. So right now, because with the help of network, we can share printers among 10, 20, 30 different computers too. And that's what you see in a lot of your universities or offices where there's one main printer everybody just prints to and goes and collects, right? It enables communications. So it enables communications like email, chat, and voice calls as well, okay? So all your, like the call we're having right now is the capacity of networking and internet, okay? And help collaborate. It helps to do shared folders, Teamworks, Teams. It helps you to send certain files over the network itself, okay? And the most important thing is it's centralized management and security. That's the most key important thing here, okay? It's centralized management and security. Without a network, every user would need their own internet connection and a printer, and it'll just be mess and a lot of cost. And that's how companies were running before, okay? Until the network was created. And remember, internet, our network was actually a military project, right? It was to share intelligence across far distance quickly as possible. It was never designed for civilian purposes, but they have implemented in civilian, and it became one of the things that humanity have invented that's best for us, right? It controls everything, right, for us. So what does a home network look like? So you see here where it says internet service provider. Going forward, I want you to think of this as an ISP, which is called internet service provider, okay? This is like Rogers, Bell, Videotron, Vodafone. not Vodafone, Virgin Mobile has also internet, home internet, right? So think of it like a home internet provider, okay? And then you have the cable that connects to a modem at home, right? Well, back in the day, modem and router used to be two separate devices. I still remember when I was young, we had a modem and we had to buy our own router to connect to it. And modem usually has only one connection you can connect to, and the router allows you to do multiple devices at once, okay? Because routers allow you to create networks, okay? So remember that, routers allow you to create networks. So the router, you can connect multiple devices to the router, and then it connects to a modem, okay? So that's what it is. And devices like phones, laptops, tablets, and smartphones, smart TVs, and everything, right? Router connects to ISP and shares the internet. So your router is the acting point, okay? Device connect wirelessly, Wi-Fi, or through cable Ethernet, okay? We call it Wi-Fi connection or Ethernet connection. Both are allowed through a router itself, okay? And this is how a complex work environment, our corporate office network look like, okay? So you'll have the internet, which is still your ISP. You'll have your modem here, but you see here there's something called a router and a firewall, okay? We'll talk a little bit more about it when we go later on the course, but this allows you to block or monitor incoming and outgoing connection, mostly incoming connection, okay? For the people who have done Security Plus or who's studying Security Plus, this is where you live in. You live in the routers, firewall, IDS, IPS, and you configure them, right? And you guys heard about the new next generation intrusion detection system that uses behavior pattern, like CrowdStrike. So CrowdStrike and as well as there's some other ones too out there, but CrowdStrike is one of the best ones out there right now. Okay, but what does an office network look like? There's desktop computers wired, laptops and phones that's wireless. There's shared printers, server storage file or running business apps. There's router, switch, firewall, and IT room. So if you see here, whereas the home and the office where we differ is there's a modem and there's a router and a firewall. It looks same, but then you see there's this new device called switch and Wi-Fi points here. So the reason why is because of this. In a home, if this fails, right? If this router fails or this modem fails, I can easily, the Rogers or Bell can tell me, okay, in the next 8 hours or 24 hours, you'll be shipped a new modem. It's fine because I'm a home user. I don't have the prioritization, right? Because router has everything built in the home system. Whereas in the corporate office, if the Wi-Fi doesn't work or if the internet does not work, I'm going to be losing millions of dollars. Okay, so that is why it's very important to separate them. These are called separating different separations of duty or separations of failures. Okay, if the Wi-Fi device fails, usually the wire device still can work, or we'll have multiple Wi-Fi devices. They're actually called access points, and I'll show you how an access point looks like. 1 second here. Let me see if I can. No, I can show. Let me share the other screen here. So this is where you'll see this. If you guys are right now, if you ever go to a hospital or if you ever go into like an office building, just look up in the ceiling. You'll see a small white circle. Okay, so it's called AP, access points. I'll just search up. And this is how this will look like. Okay, there's different companies that make some. One of the most famous ones are Cisco. Or right now, there's something called Aruba. Aruba is one of the getting more implemented in the office place right now. And this just looks like a disk and that gets mounted on the ceiling or inside of the wall. What this does is it just repeats a signal all over the place. That's the reason why even in a 2 million square feet office like Amazon or anything like that in a warehouse, you will have great Wi-Fi signal. Whereas home, if you go into the second floor, you don't have Wi-Fi signal, okay? Or go to the basement, you don't have Wi-Fi signal. It's because it's called a mesh network. They create a mesh network. And let's say down the line, we have 30 of the access point, right? If one of them dies, no problem. You'll just have one small dead zone and there'll be overlapping network. So you'll technically never lose internet connection and network connection in an office environment. Okay? That is where the cruciality comes in, because remember, every minute is it's something that's going to cost you, right? So they always want to make sure that you are fully equipped. And if there's a failure, It's not a single point of failure, okay, what we call it, single point of failure. And even if there's a switch, there'll be 6 or 10 different switches. Each floor will have 2 separate switches. So in case if one switch ever fails, this unit over here. And in next class, I actually have physical ones. I'll show you guys, so you guys are aware how it looks like. Because when you go to workplace, you will see them. You might not technically be allowed to do any sort of maintenance on them because you will need to be network certified or have network technician experience, which you guys can work in. But initially, when you start off, you won't be allowed to go that route, is because you can't bring down a network. You can bring down a network if you did the incorrect configuration, right? So you want to be just careful on that, okay? But that is a difference between office network and home network. I'll actually draw out how there's something called public and private network. I'll actually explain that to you guys too. But any question, guys, so far on the office or the home network here? Okay. So this is just meter what we just try to create. This is something called a metric sheet that I create just to give you pros versus cons. That's all it is, okay? So if you see here, the features is speed, reliability, flexibility, and use for, okay? Whereas if you see the wired internet, wired versus wireless over here, it tells you for speed, wired internet is the most fast and most stable, okay? Because you don't have wireless wave that you're trying to catch, right? Whereas Wi-Fi, it's slow and can fluctuate. And nowadays, obviously, there's some advance in Wi-Fi technology, like Wi-Fi 6, Wi-Fi 6E, and those type of things that can give you a sort of stable connection, but it can never beat a wired connection, okay? That's the reason why we make sure our servers that serves as a file server or file storage computers are always hardwired in, okay? For the more of faster and more stability. And next is reliability. Wired is always highly reliable, not affected by walls. So where Wi-Fi can drop signal easily if there's a thick wall or thick beam. Just to give you guys a context, when the COVID happened, I was given the fortune of being a project lead for Durham regions for their COVID clinic. So my duty was to make sure to design these COVID clinic, and sometimes we would do pop-up clinics into schools and in recreation centers in middle of a village, right, in Canada itself. But in there, they used to build these buildings from the 1800s. The walls used to be at least 6 or 8 feet thick. And those walls, you cannot get Wi-Fi. There is no Wi-Fi connection. So we end up getting those LTE modems that dedicate Wi-Fi from a cell phone signals. And even then we were having issues. So we were running wires from one nice place to all the way just taping it across the walls, right? So that's how bad it can get Wi-Fi. So wired is always best, okay? The use case, the flexibility is wired is not flexible, okay? You'll need to run a cable, or you need to drill holes to run cables, right? Whereas Wi-Fi, it's more easy, it's mobile and easy to use. And there's 2 scenarios. The wired is used compulsory on desktops and compulsory on servers. We will talk more about servers just in the next class and everything, so you guys have a very good understanding of what servers does. Basically, think of servers as the masters of computer. Your server can control desktops, laptops, cell phones, pretty much everything inside a computer. Whatever you can think of, a server can control. It acts like a master, and computers or laptops in a corporate environment will act like as a slave or as a child. Okay, but whereas where in a Wi-Fi, we try to connect laptops, phones, tablets, mobile devices, right? Those kids connected to Wi-Fi. So, okay. So going forward in this course, I'm going to be calling everything as nodes. So you'll see part of your job role is your team lead or your network analyst or network technicians will send you a ticket or email saying this node is down, or this node seems to be fluctuating. This node does not have a heartbeat, okay? When they mean by node is anything that connects to a network. Just think of it like this. It could be a printer, it could be a computer, it could be a smart thermostat, it can be a smartwatch, it can be a smartphone, it could be a smart TV, it doesn't matter. As long as it can connect to Wi-Fi or internet, it's considered as a node. Because from a network standpoint, when you look at it, it's just a device that receives an IP address. We will talk about IP address too, but it's just a device that is picking up an IP address from the router, okay? Which your router is giving it an address, okay? You might be like, what is an IP address? What is a MAC address? We will go through it too right now. So this is what we call as 7 layers in networking itself. Okay, so this will give you more context to how it is. You guys don't have to memorize it. Don't worry, this is not something you need for your future or anything like that. But this is how your network works. Okay, from layer 1 to layer 7. In this course, down the course, we will look a little bit of network layers, and where we look at layer 2, the data link, and network 3, the network layer and transport layer. But that's just later on the course, so you guys can troubleshoot it properly. Okay. The next, so I'm going to pause right over here. I just want to know, do you guys have any questions? And please, guys, if you guys don't understand anything, please unmute yourself and ask a question. Okay, I'm here to answer your question, and everybody has a different learning. Don't ever be embarrassed to ask a question. Okay, asking question always helps, and I like when you guys ask question. Okay, I do not take any question as small or big, and I request you guys to ask question, because remember, you guys individually paying for this course, right? So you guys do need to get your thing and make sure you guys individually learn. I don't care how long it takes. I will make sure I'll give you 10 different scenarios until you guys understand. I have enough experience to explain it to you in different ways, but you guys have to own up and ask the question. Okay, don't be embarrassed in life to ask questions. So any questions, any sort of things you guys want to ask about this so far? Is it going too fast for you guys? Is anyone saying it's going too fast for you guys?
So far, everything is good for me.
Thank you. Okay, no problem. And again, don't be embarrassed to ask questions, or just unmute yourself and talk. That's okay. That's not a problem. Okay. Now, understanding IP address and subnetting, the language of networking. Okay, we talk about network, but we never talked how does a network actually works, and how does it actually get implemented? How does it work in the background? Because without you guys understanding it, you guys will never be a successful IT analyst or starting an IT. Okay, because this is the foundation of IT. Network is what enables everything to talk, everything to work properly. So the first thing when we talk about a networking or network or anything, that's the first thing you should come into mind is IP address. Okay, IP address stands for Internet Protocol. It's like a home address for a device on a network. Imagine, so I'll tell you this right now. So right now, our office is in Midland and Finch, right? So which is in Scarborough, Ontario, or Toronto if you want to do a GTA. So for us to get an address, soon as we put an office there, the city allocates an address for us, right? Which is 4168 Finch Avenue East. That's our office address, right? That is where the office address comes in. It's an address that Rogers or Bell is giving us. Okay, but there's something called internet address. We'll go slightly later on. Okay, imagine your house, when you get an internet connection, you'll be given a big IP address too, and we'll go into the later stuff, but you'll be given IP address, okay, from Rogers, Bell, Videotron, or even Virgin Mobile. Doesn't matter. Even your phones have their own IP address from Rogers or Bell when you guys get a phone plan. Okay, every device needs one to communicate. Okay, the type of IP address. When we talk about IP address, there's 2 separate type of IP address. Okay, there's something called IPv4 address, which is numeric numbers. That is with a number with 4 different spacing. Okay, so that is called IPv4 address, which is right over here. It's just numeric. It's easy for you to read. Once you look at it, you'll know that's IPv4 address, numeric. Okay, which is still an older fashion of IP addressing when they built. Remember, when the military started building internet, they never thought that there's going to be so many people using it. So they allowed for 4.3 billion addresses, I believe. 4.3 billion addresses, which you can create using IPv4 with all the mathematical. Some of you guys did networking, I believe, so you guys would know that there is a restriction on how many IP addresses you can create in the world with IPv4 because there's a mathematical calculation in the back end. Okay, but that we actually ran over it. Okay, everybody has 2 devices right now. I have 2 phones, right? So each one of them getting an IP address. We have like 4 or 5 computers at home and everything, right? So it runs out pretty fast. So what they thought was, okay, let's build another IP addresses, which is IPv6, which can go beyond the human evolution, right, or human lifespan. which is, I think it's like 13 trillion octillion or something, 13 octillion numbers or something. We will never reach that in the next, 200-300 years, even if we give individually like 400 address or something like that. Okay, but the IP addresses tell what is your address on the network itself. Okay, so when we talk about IP addresses, think of when we talk about network, the IP address comes in, right? IP address, there's two separate type of IP addresses, and depending on where you are, you might have both IPv4 and IPv6 address, or just IPv4 address, or just IPv6 address. It's just the address that's been given to you. Okay, it's just a formatting of address is how it is. But there's something called a public address, public IP address, and there's something called a private IP address. So public IP address, think of it this way. When you get a connection from Rogers, Bell, or Videotron or Virgin Mobile that gives you a home internet, they actually give you a public IP address. Okay, which means everybody can see. They know this is publicly assigned. This has been given to you in public. Okay, Rogers is given to you, and you're not in control. Rogers can issue to you. Okay, that's public IP address. In your home, your router can actually set up a small network inside too. That will give you a private IP address. Okay, in your home, your computer right now will have something called a private IP address, and I'll show you guys how that looks, and you guys can actually open it up and check that too. And I'll show the command in Mac, and I'll show the command in Windows as well. But Mac, I just cannot show you guys because I don't use a Mac, but I can show you guys in Windows. Okay, so you guys can actually try it out to see. So there's something called public and there's something called private, and we'll look at both of them in this class as well. There's actually how you get the address. Okay, so I told you there's network, you need IP address. IP address has two different type of IP addresses, and also there's two different types of IP addresses, which is public and private. Okay, but I'm actually going to tell you, you can have two different ways of getting it assigned. So there's, you see, there's two different ways of everything, right? So there's one way, it's called dynamic, where the router decides what IP address you get. Like how I told you, like public IP address gets assigned to you by Rogers. You have no choice. You cannot ask them, hey, I want this address. Okay, you can get something called statically assigned, which means it'll permanently get assigned to you, but Rogers gives you one randomly. You cannot ask them, this is the exact number I want. That's not how it works. It gets assigned to you randomly. Okay, that's how dynamic works, and you'll have never issues with it. Static means you're telling them exactly the IP address you want, okay, in a network. So the network, we'll look at it just down the road, but in a network, you can ask, this is the exact IP address I want, is because you want something that's rememberable or easy to remember, easy for someone else to get to you, right? It's like a home address, right? You don't want a random address. You don't want the address to change every 10 days, 15 days, and we'll come to that too. Your address can actually change every 10 to 15 days too. So that is something that we'll talk about. That's something interesting down the course we'll talk about too. But remember, when an address is assigned, you can get assigned two ways. One is static, where you get manually assigned the address, or two, where it gets automatically assigned to you. The second one is the most easiest and most stress-free, most the best way to get it, okay? So you'll never have duplicates. And we'll talk about duplicates too. Any questions so far, guys? Okay, awesome, no problem. So we will talk about subnetting. When it comes to the subnet, remember I told you, you can ask for a specific IP address within a network, okay? So each network is created something called a subnetworks, okay? A small, you can break up a big network. Remember I told you, you can create up to 4.3 billion addresses, right? In the mathematical calculation of IPv4 addresses. Well, you don't want 4.3 billion addresses in just one home. You want to split that up into small chunks. 255 computers can maximum join a network. That's a small network, so you can manage it better. But all it does is subnet helps you. When you go, this thing you don't have to remember for your job. But just remember, when you go, if you do want to become a network administrator, you do have to jump very deep into it, and you have to know it like back of your hand. But it breaks a big network into smaller subnets. That's what Rogers or Bell, they do. They create a one big network, and they split up into small chunks so they can start assigning to like Scarborough area, Toronto area, Mississauga area, Brampton area. These are just small chunks, okay? Helps organize and secure networks. Subnet mask define how many devices can be in a network as well, okay? With subnet mask. And we'll look at that just when we go into the practical session of this. IP address and subnetting made easy for help desk analysts. Okay, so let's make IPs simple. Every device on a network needs an IP address to be found. It's like a phone number, unique, and it tells where to send the data to. Two main types, we just talked about this: IPv4, which is a numeric and easy to recognize, and IPv6 is complex and it has numer character in it too. Okay. No problem. So somebody just texting. Sorry, that's okay. Subnetting without math. Let's just do it because you're not. Let's say this course is not for network specialization. Okay, this is for help desk. You don't need to do math. There's a math in. I told you there's a mathematical calculation you need to do to get that 4.3 billion addresses, right? But let's just not do that. Think of subnet like breaking a big apartment building into units. Subnet mask tells where the network ends and the device begins. Example, and I'll show you this in a live example just in a little bit. When you see 255.255.255.0, which means you can have 254 devices in the network, and I'll show you a live example of this. Okay, so you'll have a practical experience of it too. Real help desk example, and this is something that you guys will have to memorize for your job, and this is something that I see day to day in a job where our when new people join, our new analysts join, they forget to read the small numbers. If you ever see, and I'll show you where you will see it. Okay, if you ever see the number 169.254, which means your no DHCP. And we'll talk about DHCP, and it's part of the recorded course to you. You guys do get a full introduction about DHCP as well, okay? Which means you have no internet. When you see the message, something called IP conflict, which means two devices using the same addresses. And why this is important is, think of it this way, okay? Think of somebody sending like a snail mail, like a letter mail, to CTEC Training Center, which is located at 4168 Finch Ave East, right? So they send the mail, Canada Post picks it up, Canada Post then takes it to the local facility. The local facility, the mailman will take it and bring it to 4168 Finch Ave East building, right? So he'll walk down the road or drive, and then he'll see the 4168 building, and then he'll come in and drop the thing. Imagine right next to it, there's another 4168 Finch Ave East building. They're different colors or whatever it is, but both are listed as 4168 Finch Ave East. What do you think the mailman will do? I just want to hear from you guys. What do you think the mailman will do? There's no right or wrong answer. I just want to hear your thoughts. Go ahead, Amber. I'm ready.
Yes, like then the mailman can't deliver it because like both buildings have the same address.
Yeah, exactly. Because it'll be like, what if he delivers the wrong, like he sends information to the wrong thing? He's like, no, I'm not doing anything, man. I'm not delivering it, right? That's what you'll do. And that's basically what an IP conflict is. It just won't. Both the computers will not work. Just like how the mailman will not deliver to both the building, your network will refuse to give or allow network access to both devices until it'll be like, okay, you guys go to the corner and figure it out. I don't care. You guys figure it out, right? And the only way to avoid IP conflict is it's going in dynamic, which means letting the router automatically assign to you, or make sure the IP address you're assigned is not being assigned somewhere else. And I'll give you a good scenario on this, which I faced in a hard way, okay? So when I was working as an operation manager in Ontario Shores, on one fine early morning, and I'm talking about early morning, meaning 2 a.m., they call us and saying that all IT systems are down. And as an operations manager, at 2 a.m., I had to wake myself up, go down to the office where there's a network team assigned. And remember, this is a government hospital, right? So governmentally funded hospital. So when this happens, there's a whole investigation that happens. So this was, I believe this was a Saturday or Sunday, I believe, Saturday or Sunday. Although the IT department is off, hospital still runs. It's a 24/7 hospital. When shit hits the fan, and it's part of IT, we are in. Mostly, I myself is in. If it's a network, one of the network persons in, one of the help desk persons in, one of the security persons in, cybersecurity persons in, one person from each team. And because I control all the teams, I'm there too. And one of the things what happened was there was an older server that was turned off, that was set to static IP, okay? And the IP address that was set to is 192.168.0.10 or something like that, let's say, okay? So this was an older server, about 6-7 years old, and we have to keep data on a server and backed up for at least 7 years, part of HIPAA compliance. That's a medical record compliance. Okay, minimum 7 years, and I think there's a maximum time too. So what they did was they had to get a patient data on a Friday evening. So they plugged the computer in, turned it on, got the data out manually. They forgot to turn the computer off. Something happened where they forgot to turn the computer off or the server off. What ended up happening was, I think it's a Saturday or Sunday morning, when all the devices, when all the devices just stopped working. When we went in, we figured out that that backed up server that was turned on was actually something called the domain controller. We'll talk about this more to domain controller. What domain control does is it controls all the computer in the hospital, computers, laptops, smartwatches, pretty much anything, right? Even like ECG devices that patient wear. And because the domain controller and this backup server both had the same IP address, whole hospital shut down. We were under something called a code gray, which means all infrastructure down, which is one of the worst things that can happen in a hospital. Code gray is one of the worst things that can happen in a hospital, which happened, and we figured out it's because of the simple as we never checked to change the IP address. And if you see the language I'm using, it's we. We do not, in IT, we do not put an individual blames, okay? We do not say he did it, she did it. We say we did it, and it's a teamwork. So that's the thing that we need to get practice of, okay? So that is, at 2 a.m. this happened, right? So we were all there. Once the issue was done within 5 minutes, we figured out it's a conflict of, when we go into the networking switch, we can actually see this is a conflict of IP conflict. And we know exactly these are the server because they're the least number. So they're like the first or second number in the IP address itself, right? So we know this is a server, and we fixed it within 5-10 minutes, and we turned off the old backup, and we made sure to change the IP address on the backup server to a completely different IP address and turned it off, just in case in the future we do turn it on, we will not face this issue again. But once we fixed it, there was something called RCA, which is called root cause analysis. So we have to do what actually happened and how do we actually prevent this from happening in the future. So full documentation. We didn't get home until I believe it's either Sunday late night or Saturday. It was late night. So we were from morning to late night doing investigation, right? So a small 2-3 minutes fix. It's literally changing IP addresses 2-3 minutes fix. Because they didn't do that, we wasted about 10 to 12 hours. Where the magnitude of this, you guys have to understand, is if a patient could not get the medication, they can die. This becomes a life or death situation in a hospital, right? So some of you guys might end up working in a hospital or in some sort of critical care where this will become a life or death situation. IT has become that part of a business. It actually controls business a lot of the time, okay? It is a backbone of a lot of business. Any questions so far, guys? Awesome. What we'll do is let's take a 10 minutes break. It's 8:35 right now. Let's come back at 8:45 and we'll continue the lecture, okay? And we'll have some small live demos here too, so you guys can try it out and see how it works on your computer too, okay? We'll be back in 10 minutes. So 8:45, we'll be back, okay? Thank you, guys. All right, guys. So let's get started. So we just talked about the incident which I faced when I was playing as the operation manager in Ontario Shores, right? So there's lots of scenarios what happened with the issue of network, and having the right network technician at the right time is about fixing the issue quickly, right? Quickly and efficiently. But also, we will talk about there's troubleshooting methodology. There could be greatest network technician. He can know tons and tons of tools, but without a proper technique and troubleshooting process, we're never going to solve the problem efficiently, okay? And part of this course is you will learn the troubleshooting methodology. That is very important for you guys, okay? And even in interview, when they're asking you guys to a scenario question, they're not looking for a solution. They're actually looking for the path you take to solve the issue, or what are you doing to identify the issue. In a lot of problem, right, or in a lot of issues in IT, We're just trying to look at how you handle the problem in interviews or at a time. So focus on the actual, how do you face the problem, then solving the problem. The solution for the problem, for a hypothetical question, there's no solution, but it's a thought process that really matters in the interview, and that's where a lot of people lack, right? So we'll talk about that too. Okay, just give me 1 second here. So let's okay, from 192.168 to the internet, IP addressing and subnetting basics. So the example here it's given to you is 192.168.1.100. This is your IP address at home or in office. It tells your computer where to send and receive data. A peek inside the network address book. Okay, this is called a network's address book. Remember, in the back in the day, we used to have a book that we used to write, Ardavan, this is this number, or we used to write, Lewis, this is the number, just a diary, right, to keep a record of it. Now we do that in our contacts in our phone. So same thing like that in the computer world and the networking world, we have the IP address, which is the internet address. Next, we have something called a DNS. Okay, this is a name translator. So what it tells is, remember, human brain is not capable of remembering large numeric numbers, right? Again, going back to, this is a military project. This is a military project, right? Internet, the great internet is. But they never thought of this going to be a civilian use. So they never build this stuff to, make it easier for people. For military personnel, they're going to have a book that's with a certain IP address and they're going to reach there, right? But when it comes to civilian, you can't ask someone to memorize google.com is located at 49.283.63.83. I just made that up, but you can't memorize that, okay? But what we can do is, if you search up google.com, we can tell it to point to this IP address or to this address. So we call it as, remember, like aliases, right? Creating aliases. But in networking world, we call it DNS. And you can have multiple IP addresses assigned to a name, a domain name, okay, we call it. The reason why we do this is for redundancy. So that's something where you'll hear throughout your career, is creating redundancy. If, let's say, you're trying to go to Google to search up, cat pictures, if Google's not reachable because somehow the server room in Toronto is flooded with the sewage water, Google still wants you to find out cat pictures, right? So they'll make sure they have multiple servers across the globe. Google has, I think, like 63 data centers at any given point of time, right? So you'll never be able to not reach Google. So they make sure you could reach Google. That's how they make their money, right? The advertisement and everything. But IPs can be reused privately or be globally unique, which means when Rogers gives you an IP, they have the two choices: is to randomize it every 20 days, every 13 days. It can automatically give you a new IP address, or you can pay more money and get something called a static IP addresses, or one-shot IP address, I believe it's called in Rogers, but it's called static IP address in the networking thing. So they give you one IP address, and that's what you stick with for the rest of your thing. This is usually used in a corporate environment, okay? For home use, they don't even offer this anymore. I think you can call them and request for it, but in a home usage, they don't give you a static IP address. In an office environment, you can actually purchase a static IP. They still give you a random IP address, but it just doesn't change quickly. Okay, it won't change. You'll still have it. But whereas home, the random IP address they give you, they can change it every 24 hours, every month, every year. It depends on how your plan is set up or how your ISP has set it up. Okay. What's my address on the network? Just like at mail needs your home address, the internet needs your IP address too. Every phone, laptop, printer has its own address. Okay, the easiest way to get an IP address is, I'm just going to show you on my Windows computer, and you guys want to try this out too, please try it out. Okay, so on Windows, or if you're on Mac, open up your search console and search for terminal. Okay, but if you're using Windows, you're going to search for command prompt. Or CMD, Charlie, Mango, David, okay, CMD, which is also called command prompt. So this is basically a backend or a DOS level entry into your system, which you're seeing. This is a black window. And when you open Mac, you'll see something similar to this, where it's not a graphical interface you're facing. Okay, you're facing a command line interface. Okay, this is where you write in your command, and part of this role is you do have to memorize some commands. This is not programming. You're not doing programming or coding. I'm very bad at coding. Okay, but command lines I can remember. The first command that I'm going to teach you guys is called ipconfig in Windows, which is I as in India. I'm just going to zoom in so you guys can see ipconfig. Okay, this is for Windows, but for Mac or Linux computer, you're just going to search up ifconfig. So the P just switches to F. Okay, for Mac or Linux. But if you're using Windows, it's just ipconfig. And when you type that in, this is going to spit out a bunch of numbers and bunch of things. Okay. So what this is telling us is all the network interfaces in my computer that is possibly can receive an IP address. Okay. One thing that you guys do have to memorize is Bluetooth actually can consider as a network device too. Okay. One of the qualification for a network connector is something called a MAC address. So remember this MAC address. You have, if you're going to connect to a network, that connector must have a MAC address. Okay. Right. So when we look in here, I'm just going to zoom in. We're going to make this bigger for you guys. So let's zoom in a bit. Okay, there you go. So you see this. I'm just going to scroll down here to this one over here. Okay. This is actually the wireless LAN adapter, Wi-Fi. This is my laptop's Wi-Fi card. So you know how you see how I'm. Well, I mean, I cannot. Okay, so my computer is connected to Wi-Fi. Okay, just think of it that way. You guys can, you know where to find it. It's on the bottom right-hand side corner where you can find the small Wi-Fi icon, right? Or in Mac, you guys are gonna find the same thing. It's a Wi-Fi symbol. Linux, same thing. This is my Wi-Fi adapter. Okay, I know my laptop is connected to the Wi-Fi, so I'm gonna get the one that's the IP address that's on the Wi-Fi itself. Okay. So this says IPv4 address. Remember when we talked about two different types of addresses? Well, my computer is right now using IPv4 address. It's easy for me to read. And if you see, it is just numeric number with four different dots, right? So my internal IPv4 address that's inside my home is actually, my computer is located inside my router is 192.168.86.113. This is my internal IP address. This is my computer's IP address, okay? Which means my home router that's just sitting right over there, my Rogers router, is giving me this IP address. Well, I have a little bit more complex setup inside my home. So this is not my Rogers router. There's actually another router. It's called a proxy server. So when you go into networking, you learn that, but that's fine. This is my IP address inside my home, okay? This is how any computer inside my house or any devices can find this computer. This is the address for this. And there's something called subnet mask. Remember we talked about this? This is subnet mask. So when the subnet mask is 255.255.255, remember we looked at how many computers you're allowed to connect to this. Can someone remember that? We just yeah, go ahead, Andre.
254.
Perfect, 254. 254 computers, nodes. I don't want to say computers, I want to say nodes.
Nodes, okay.
Nodes. Yeah, nodes can connect to this. Very good. Nodes can connect to this network itself. Okay, 254. But realistically speaking, on a home network, if you connect to 254, your router will crash. But it's just that you have the possibility of allowing 254 nodes to connect to the network itself. Okay, perfect. And where you see this default gateway, right? This is where my router is located. Actually, this is my address of my router. This is how my computer knows where to go to get to the router. And there's actually a very important reason why my computer needs to know where the router is located. And this is for accessing the internet. So right now, internally, without a router, I can still communicate with different nodes in my own home without the help of a router. It's called botnet, or it's just called it like a network without a router, right? So you don't need a router. Router helps you to make sure you can go reach the internet to your modem itself, okay? So my computer knows if it contacts 192.168.86.1, it can reach the internet. if there's internet connection. Okay, router does it, other helps too, but that's the basics that you guys have to understand. Is router helps you to communicate with the internet using the help of modem. Okay, so let's say this is a case here, right? So let's say if I ever need to communicate outside, I can go through here. Okay, any question here, guys? Does everyone understand this? Yeah, go ahead, Anthony. Please unmute yourself, Anthony, please.
Sorry, please, can you go over that again, please? Just one more time.
Yeah, of course, of course.
Thank you.
So, no problem. So when we talk about network, remember we talked about two different types of networks, right? Two different types of networks. One is a public, one is a private, okay? Right now, we're only looking at private networks, okay? Which means this is a network inside my home right now. It's inside my home, and this only is inside my home. This is not leaving my network, and it's not leaving outside my home to the public network, okay? This is what we're talking about is private network. So in the private network, I'm using IPv4 addresses. So which is a numeric number. It's very easy for a human to read, and it's just easy for setup for me, okay? So this is my computer's IP address on this network itself. So I don't have to, this is automatically assigned. We'll go to the automatic assumptions just down the course, just next class. But what we're doing right now is this is my address inside my home. This is my computer's address in my home. And I think I have like 30 or 40 different nodes inside my computer, inside my network. And one of the nodes, this is my address on the network, which means any other node inside my home can be reaching my computer using this unique IP address. This is private IP address, okay? And what we looked at next is subnet mask. And this is a subnet mask. This helps us to tell what is the maximum amount of nodes that can connect to this network. And this, because it's 255.255.255.0, because this is 0, it tells us we can connect at maximum of 254 different nodes to this network itself, okay? Node meaning any device that connects to a network. It can be a smartphone, cell phone, smart TV, thermostat. As long as you can connect to Wi-Fi or internet, it's considered as a node, okay? From a networking standpoint. The next is default gateway. This is basically the address of my router in my home, okay? This just tells where to send information if I want to leave the house and go to the internet and see google.com or youtube.com or go and check my emails, those type of things. I have to go through the router. It's almost like the bodyguard will let me leave and come back inside, okay? So this is, I know his address in case I want. Does that make sense, Anthony?
Perfect. Thank you very much.
No problem at all, man. No problem. Yeah. So this is where we talk about. This is, as I said, this is a private network. Okay. Now you might be asking, hey, Athavan, can you show me an example of a public network? Right. Okay. It's very easy. So remember, I told you, Rogers. So imagine Rogers is a big home, right? Imagine Rogers has a big home. Do you have a question, man? Sorry, I just see your hands up. I think
that's fine. That's fine.
So yeah. Sorry, it's from previous. I think. Sorry, my apologies. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Okay, so Rogers. Imagine like they're like the big building guys, right? So imagine they're like the big building, and we're imagine like we're renting a small unit inside a big building, right? Like a big apartment. We're renting a small unit. Think of it just like that. They're the huge building owners, like Rogers or Bell. So when they give us a room for rent, they actually assign us a public address. It's saying Adhavan lives in this one. It's 4168 Finch Ave East is a big building. And 4168 Finch Ave East, I'm in penthouse 05. So that's publicly announced, right? Whatever I do in penthouse 05 is my thing. I can set up a small, 20 units in there. That's my thing. That's what we call private. That's internal to the penthouse 05, which is CTEC Training Center's office. But 4168 Finch Ave East is a big boss that allows me to rent out, right? So how do we actually get the address, the public IP address? The easiest way is if you go online, let's say you go to Google, and you go into what is my IP address? And you see go into what is my IP address. When you see from the network, you're going to only see the public IP address, okay? This is my public IP address. This has been given to me by Rogers Canada. Okay, so remember I told you guys, and there's a fun activity that we do. Part of this next class is we actually try to group people together, so where we can actually communicate with each other. Without this, we can actually try and reach out to you in your home. We can try to visit your home in network. Okay. Just before we get there, we'll go on to the next things, but then we'll get to it. So it's a lot of fun. You can actually see if it can reach you or not. But then also, there's a way of looking, what is a route am I taking? Okay, we'll actually do that too, but we'll just do that just down the course. We'll just not get ahead of ourselves. Okay. So how do I get an IP address? There's something called DHCP, okay, which gives out an IP address automatically. This is actually on a router. The DHCP settings this is where your computer allows you to get dynamically. Is also the technical naming is DHCP, okay? DHCP addressing or dynamic addressing, okay? Sometimes we assign them manually, which is called static IP address. The reason why we assign them manually, routers will always get a, the 192.168.86.1 you saw in my network here, right? This is given to my router manually because we don't want the router to change, right? Because remember, dynamic means there's a possibility how you configure it, obviously, as a network administrator, it can actually change over time. You can give a lease period, it's called, okay? When you get a dynamic IP address, you never own the IP address. Just like how Rogers, when they give me when they allow me a room to rent, like 416, our building, they allow me to rent there. We don't own the unit, right? We just rent from them. Which means at any point of time, the building owner can come and be like, hey, here's your lease period is over, you guys need to get out, okay? So how do you actually check that? If you actually do ipconfig/all, you can actually get more information. See, this is more information than what we saw before, right? So this physical address, what you're seeing here, this is actually the MAC address. So this MAC address is actually unique. You cannot have a copy in the world. Like this is basically when the manufacturer creates my computer, they will actually create this MAC address part of the chip inside the computer itself. Okay, so it's very hard for it to be mimicked. So if you see here, this thing has the same thing because it's a virtual adapter. Okay, we'll talk about virtual. It's not part of this course. There's virtualization in part of your recorded video. We do talk about it, but it's a different concept. It's for administration. Okay, but because we do teach administration course, there's some virtualization adapters here. That's fine. But this is the MAC address for this Intel Wi-Fi 6E chip. Okay, this is the MAC address that's been given by Intel, the manufacturer itself. And you see where it says DHCP, which means this IP address that I have gotten from for my computer from the router, the 131 number, is actually given to me automatically by the router itself. Okay. Sorry. And auto configuration is enabled, which means it will allow the router to send the configuration automatically, so my computer does not have to think for it. It'll just get it. Next is the IPv4 address, which we saw before, the subnet mask, which we saw before. Now you're going to see the lease. Remember, I told you, even if you manually assign, so which means statically assign an IP address or dynamically DHCP assigned IP address, can never be owned by the computer. Okay, the owner is always the router. In a private setting and in a public setting, whoever the ISP is. In my case, is Rogers. Okay, if Rogers now decides that I didn't pay the bill, he wants to cut the internet, all they do is just stop my IP address, and boom, I'll be with no internet. Okay, that's how it works. So this is a lease obtained. What date and time I have obtained the lease? So I got it today at 7:16 p.m. As soon as I stepped in my home, I'm in my home today because I don't want to be traveling back at 9:45. I want to go to sleep. So I got it at 7:16. My lease expires tomorrow at 7:16 p.m. So which means until tomorrow at 7:16 p.m., I can still have the same IP address. I won't take it away from you. This is now can be different from router to router, ISP to ISP. As I said, like ISPs can say every 1 month, this can change, right? But I can see the settings here on my computer. Whereas ISP, if you call your ISP and talk to your technical department, they can tell you how often it resets, okay? But usually, like I know Rogers, I never call to ask because I don't really care if my home IP address changes. But in my home, For me, the IP address changes every 24 hours. You might be like, okay, Advin, like, why are we even giving this lease time? Why do we have to give it a certain hour, right? I'll give you a scenario. This is good for home, right? Home, you can have it unlimited because you only have, like, I only have 5 people living in home. We only have maximum of 20, 25 devices altogether, everything 25 to 30 devices altogether, okay? With my siblings and with my family, right? So we only have 25 to 30, maximum 40 devices. That device will not change. But imagine in a work settings where you have 3,000, 4,000 people working, and there can be guests coming in and going out, right? So if we allow only maximum, let's say two, like obviously in a corporate environment, we're going to allow for more network. We're going to allow for 400,000 or even 500,000 different devices to connect. But if it holds an IP address for 24 hours, there's easily that we can lose the IPs, right? So what will happen to your network is it cannot give new IP. And we face this in the hospital all the time because we have patients signing into the guest Wi-Fi, and then they leave the hospital after 4 or 5 hours, and then after a certain amount of time, new people cannot join because all the IP has been given out. Even though they have left, the router does not give a damn about it. Because the router said, okay, it's yours is for 24 hours. After 24 hours, I'll take it from you, right? But in certain cases, we have changed. And I can give you all the examples why we have changed. We have changed it to a 1 hour lease time. So after every hour, then in a hospital, the router will take back the IP address and issue it to a new client or anyone new. And even if you're in the network, you won't see the difference because you're actively connected to the network. Your IP address will renew. You'll get either a new IP address or your router will give the same IP address. That's fine. But as long as you have left, the IP address after an hour will get recycled and renewed to someone else new. So anyone new coming to the hospital will not be facing the issue of no internet. Now, is that realistic? No. There's still tons of people that doesn't get their network, and there's not much we can do. It is a guest Wi-Fi. It is a first come first serve basis, so we don't do anything. But we prioritize our computers. So we have a separate network we use for staff and our networks to make sure it works properly. Okay. Any question here, guys? So we just did an IP configuration. Showed you guys. Okay, network troubleshooting and Wi-Fi best practice. So just before we go there, I do want to stop this over here. Okay, so there's certain things that I do want to show you here. So I told you guys that how we find the internal IP address, right? But there's actually another technique that you guys will have to memorize. Is something called ping. Most of you guys who are doing your networking or have some sort of familiarized with IT will know the powerfulness of ping. Okay, the first thing when a staff tells me something's not working or something's not reachable, the first thing I'll ask them is, have you pinged the computer? So ping will make sure, even if it's in a private network or a public network, all you're doing is testing if it's reachable. It's reachable. That's it. Is it alive or is reachable? Okay. So the command is Mac, Windows, Linux, Unix, I don't care whatever it is, whatever computer is, ping is same, okay, command line. And you can ping an IP address, you can ping a domain name as well, okay? So domain name meaning google.com. And the benefit of being ping is when you get these messages, it tells you one is an IP address of google.com, okay? This will give you the google.com's IP address. Two, it'll tell you if it's reachable. This means it's getting reply, and you can see we have sent 4 packets, we have received 4 packets, and lost 0 packets. So which means 100% success. What are these packets, you might be wondering? So they're called actually ping packets. There's actually a protocol called ping. We'll go slightly into it in the next class too. What does ping do is it makes sure if a system is alive, if you're doing the ping protocol, it allows you to reply with it, and it's a secure reply, okay? And sometimes we do turn these off because there's actually a cybersecurity. If you guys are studying cybersecurity, there's certain things you can do with ping to attack a computer. Because if the computer replies, that means there's something living there, right? Or something alive there, which means it can potentially be a target. If there's a potential target, then there should be potential vulnerabilities. And if there's potential vulnerabilities, then there's potential known attacks that you can do to bring it down or take control. So we're going to go down the rabbit hole of cybersecurity if you do that. But just to keep it short and sweet, is to test the connectivity. Okay, what we have done is we have checked if our computer can reach google.com, and in this case it was 100%. And there will be some cases where you're trying to ping something and you cannot reach it, and it could be that your computer does not have the reach or the visibility to that node, or the node is offline. There's only two. It's either you don't have reachability, or the node is offline. Okay, there's only two outcomes. And just to give you an idea, remember the IP address I told you for my router, and the easiest thing to check if your router is online is to just do ping to 192.168.86.1. So my router is pingable. But what the difference is, you cannot ping my router because this is my internal IP address, right? This is inside my home. But what you can do is you can actually ping my public IP address. Does anyone have, and please be very open about it, okay? I'm going to go into a little bit of in-depth into public and private IP address. Does anyone not understand the concept of public and private IP address? And it's okay, totally fine if you guys don't. And that's the reason why I'm asking. Yes, go ahead, no problem.
Okay, so like when I ping google.com, right, then like it's showing me different address, like and when you was like
very good
pinging, then it was different address.
Yes, very good. We're gonna just get into that. That's just down the road. Just bear with me for 2-3 minutes, okay? I'm gonna show you that, okay?
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm gonna show you exactly why. And this, we touched base on this a little bit. Remember, there's multiple servers sometimes. Even if google.com gets in Toronto ever gets flooded, you'll still be able to reach google.com. It's part of their redundancy planning. We'll talk about that, right? Just soon, very soon. Okay, so now I want to do this. I want to put this red as Rogers. I'm going to put this nice green color as my home. I'm going to do this. Same thing, home or office, okay? From a network standpoint, same thing. And you might be wondering what this small black dot in between is. Oh, sorry, I was already here. I'm going to slightly put it. Okay, the reason why I'm put as modem or router nowadays, what the box, your white color box or black color box you're getting from Rogers, Bell, Virgin Mobile, or Vodafone, they're actually called a modem/router combo. They're 2-in-1 device, 2 or 3-in-1 devices. They have the access point built in, they have the modem built in, and they also have the switch built in. Okay, all three of them in one devices, which is 3-in-1 or 2-in-1 they call it. Okay, depending on the service provider you go with. So what this does is, this is your ISP, okay? This is a big building in ISP, right? So for me, this was where my Rogers comes into play, okay? And for me to get my Rogers IP address, my public IP address, I'm just gonna go into same thing before what I went to. Where is this? Okay, I'm just gonna go to what IP address. So this is my public IP address, okay? This is one that Rogers has given me, okay? I'm just gonna put this over here so you guys can visually see this better. This is my public IP address, okay? Now, my home IP address, my internal IP address is this 192.168.192.168.86.1. This is my router's IP address. This is my internal IP address, okay? This is how this works. What the router or modem allows, remember I told you the IP address is to contact or leave outside my home. So anything internal into my home, any device, I can have 254 devices, right? Any 254 nodes, as long as the node is within the range. So it can be anywhere from, let's say, it cannot be 86.1, but it has to be in the same format. Okay, so it has to be 192.168.86, and whatever the number is after the X, whatever the X is, it will still be in the same house. Okay, all the nodes can communicate with each other. So what the router allows me to do is use this. This is the address of the. Let me just copy this. This is the router's address. Okay. So any device, any node inside my home can contact the router to leave to go to the ISP, and the ISP will allow me to connect to YouTube, Google, whatever it is. Okay, the connection is. Does that make sense, guys? Okay, so the ISP allows, this is the difference between a public and a private IP address. Okay, so this is your public IP address, and I just showed you how to get that, and we're going to have a small group assignment or group work next class. So this is your private. Oh, okay. Private IP. Because this is something that my router is creating inside. Oh, I don't know why I did. Okay, yeah, there you go. My computer is just a bit slow today, but that's okay. But this is a private IP address. My computer actually creates for my home router creates for me for internal uses. Where Rogers has given me, like the building owner, this is the unit ID number they have given, right? So at any point in time, I can be revoked this to or changed. I can be told to move to a different unit. Same thing as these numbers. As long as if I purchase that as a static, then it's mine for until I make the payment or until they decide to cancel my subscription. Or if it's dynamic, I can be switched or I can be kept the same. And if you guys do want to experiment with that, is we can easily do is we can well, it's not easy, it's hard, but you'll have to turn off your home router for 24 hours, and then you'll get a new IP address. You'll see that you take it first and you turn it off if you're going on a trip, come back and turn it on, you'll see a different IP address. I know it's 24 hours, but depends on router to router. Okay, but it depends on ISP to ISP. Sorry, not router to router. Okay, now the next thing is I want to talk about is there's right now there's about there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people in call. I know some people had to leave for work, they just mentioned. That's okay, and some people are watching this on the we'll be watching the recording of it, which will be available to you guys. But the one thing that I want to ask is, just as a class activity, I want to do is I want you guys to get your public IP address and just put in the comment. And what we're going to try to do, and I'm going to suggest you do, I'm going to give you my public IP too. Please try to ping the public IP. I just want to see what type of message you guys are getting. And I want you guys to share your public IP as well. Okay, in the message. Let participant message. Okay, sorry. There you go. You guys should be able to message now. So I just put the message in my public IP address. I want you guys to ping, and if you guys can share me your public IP address, I'll show a live demo of pinging, and you guys see what the difference is. I'm using Rogers, okay, my ISP. You guys can use whatever is the ISP is. But I just want to see, okay, perfect. I got Amrit's IP address, public IP. All I'm going to do is try to ping Amrit's ping. Request timeout. So this is what happens when I don't have one. It's either I don't have reachability to this network, or to this IP address. Two, either the node is down or the network is down, right? So, Amrit, I'm just going to ask you: are you with Bell or a different network?
I'm with Bell.
Bell, okay, perfect. And I'll explain the scenario why. So this is WAMO. So I'm just going to ping 172. Oh, sorry. There you go. So I'm able to ping you, WAMO, and I'll explain why this is. If you guys want to just try to ping mines, you guys can see what your results are. I'll tell you why. Okay. So this works like almost like a closed gate. So Wamo, I'm just gonna read off of your Google name here. And Anthony, 1 second. Anthony, you given me this is your internal IP address. You need to go to whatsmyipaddress.com and copy it from there. You need to go to, I'll show you here. You need to go to whatsmyipaddress.com and just give me this IP address. This is your public IP address. What you're giving me right now is your private IP address. So the reason why I'm able to ping Wamo versus Emirates is this, because Wamo and myself were in Rogers, so we're in the same building. So the reachability for us is very easy. I can just, it's almost like me walking to his floor and saying, hey, how are you, man? Rather than whereas Emirates is in a different building. I cannot travel to him easily, or there's a security guard, or there's some sort of restriction for me to enter in. So imagine, think of it like almost like a family separation, right? So we're part of the Rogers family. Emirates is part of the Bell family. So perfect. Amrit, go ahead, Amrit.
Okay, so but then how we can ping Google and is showing there is availability, right?
Yes, a good question. So what happens is these ISPs, so let me just scroll this down here. So what happens is this, okay? So we have, so let's say this. We have Rogers. Oh, sorry. So we have Rogers. We have Bell. We have, let's say, Vodafone or whatever it is, whatever the other guys are, okay? Okay. Whatever it is, okay? Sorry. So I'm just gonna name this as Rogers. I'm just gonna put it as Thales, that's fine. Okay, so these are internet service provider, right? There's something called as a big these are like families, or these are like internet service providers, but internet service providers can still connect to something called the common internet. So that's how it works. We have something called the deep ocean fiber optics. Again, this is jumping way too deep into networking, but I'll just show you guys just for curiosity so you guys can learn a little bit more about this too. So we have something called the deep ocean fiber optics cable. So they're literally across the globe, everywhere, there's actually a hardwire connection. It's not satellite connection. What people say it is. In the bottom of the ocean, there's actually these big pipelines that connects continent to continent. They're just fiber optics cable. Like the fiber optics they give it to you home, but these are like 400 times, 10,000 times larger, many connections to connect different content to each other, right? So these are part of different servers, and they get put on the public network to be accessible. So that's why these are part of, even CTEC Training Center are part of public accessibility. They're publicly accessible net nodes. They're publicly accessible nodes. All they are is, just imagine like they're just like this big world of things. Remember, if you're studying cybersecurity, I think some of you guys are, you guys will learn about the public internet versus the dark web. Have you guys heard of the concept? Dark web concept, you know? So dark webs are like, you know, they're proxied servers. Let's just not go into that circle, but these are public networks where everybody can host their websites on. You'll have google.com, you'll have YouTube, you'll have, you know, Daily Motion, you'll have CTEC Training Center. I'm just gonna make this as red because obviously CTEC Training Center is special. CTEC Training Center, you'll have, you know, Bing, or they're accessible by everyone in the world, unless that particular country or that particular ISP has a restriction against them. Okay, that's how it gets access. It's basically on the public network. Does that answer your question, Amrit?
Yes, that's fine. Thank you.
Perfect. Yeah, no problem. And I'm gonna, Anthony, and and I believe you're part of Bell as well, but that's okay. Well, because I can tell by looking at an IP address if it's part of my group or not, my Rogers group or not. That's fine. Okay, so we're still now thinking that we cannot route, right? Remember what I told about ping being the tool that can test reachability, and we can test the reachability versus a node being online or offline, right? There's there's two more tools that we can use to get more information about this step that's taking. Okay, so I know there's two of you guys who have done networking, and I'm now going to try to put you on the spot, but I want to know if you guys can tell me what the tool I'm thinking about. It's a tracing tool.
It's a trace RT.
Yes, very good. And do you know what the trace RT is used for?
Like it's showing us reachability hop by hop.
Yeah. And the reason why we test that out, and I'm going to explain this about it even in depth in next class, is the first thing is you'll try the ping. The next thing is you're going to do trace RT. The reason why you will do trace RT is now you see this, right? We have failed over here. It tells us that it's failed, and ping only gives us two answers: is it reachable or non-reachable? Okay, or is it node down? Is reachable, non-reachable, or node down? Right. So that's two different separation. But we, as a technical analyst, we can't just go to our manager and be like, I don't know, it's not pinging, man. Up to you, right? We can't say that. We're part of Analyst, right? So our mindset is to think, all right, so it stopped pinging, but where did this connection stop? Is it on my end, or is it on the client or the other side end, right? The adjacent end. So we need to figure out where this is getting blocked. That is a shift between a technician mindset to an analyst mindset, right? It's to see, all right, so it went wrong. Where did it go wrong? So the reason why you're trying to figure out where it went wrong is to get down to the root cause and fix the issue, right? So one of the tools that'll help you is traceroute, okay? But there is another tool that I've just got out of my mind is, sorry, just give me one. Yeah, sorry. There is something called NS lookup. Okay, so what NS lookup does is this one. It's not traceroute. This is just NS lookup. So this is a question that Amrit, I think you asked. So how come when I ping google.com is a different IP address than when you ping google.com, right? So to answer your question short and sweet is, remember I told you Google has multiple servers in the same geolocation, and across the globe they have hundreds and thousands of servers, okay? The reason because their business works on model of making sure you can access Google in the quickest, efficient, and the fastest way, all three at the same time, right? So for them, if they have just one server that you can access or I can access, we can easily overwhelm the servers, we can crash the servers, it can come slow. So what they'll do is they'll have multiple servers that we can go to in case one is busy or one is that's close to you and versus close to me. I'm in Ajax. It tries to give me the closest server location to my geolocation wise, right? Closest to me versus closest to you. So for me, when I try to see what are the options I have, if I do NS lookup, it gives me all the DNS entries. Remember what we talked about DNS? It's a name to an IP address, right? Can someone tell me what this IP address is? What type of IP address this is?
IP6.
IPv6. Perfect. Very good. This is the IPv6 address, and this is your IPv4 address. See how this is numeric? It's easy to read. Whereas this one, it has alphanumeric digits in it with semicolons. This is what we call as IPv6. Okay, it's a bit complicated because it can allow for larger amount of nodes to connect rather than the IPv4. And we'll look at the exact numbers next class. Don't worry about too much. You wouldn't be asked in interviews, okay? Well, maybe, but it's good to know as a general knowledge, just to have in back of your head. But you don't have to memorize the mathematical calculations for it. But Google can be reached when you type in google.com. If the first if this IP address is busy, then it goes to the next one. If this is busy, then it goes to the next one. If one is crashed, then it goes to the next one, right? So it has, 6 different types of IPv4 servers that it can go to Google if one is crashed. So I will never be in a situation where I cannot reach Google. As long as I have internet connection, I have public network connection, I can reach google.com. That's what Google trying to tell me. And now if you guys do NS lookup and see, you guys might see the IP address I'm seeing, or you might see a different IP address than I'm seeing because it's part of your geolocation. Does that make sense, guys? All right. So it's go ahead.
Yes, it's showing me a different address like than
Yeah.
you. Yeah.
Because if you don't mind me asking you, where are you located, Amrit?
I live in Brampton.
Okay, so basically, probably you're getting routed to the Toronto's, either Toronto or somewhere a little bit far from their data center there, the closest location to yours, geolocation wise.
Yes, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, which is what we call as the latencies, right? So when we do the ping here, right, these are the latency timings. So TTL, time to listen, time to reply, right? Those type of things, right? So my reach is 25 milliseconds, 16 milliseconds, 32 milliseconds, and 64 milliseconds. Amrit, if you don't mind, can you give me your IP address for Google that you're seeing? One of the IP addresses is fine.
It's okay. You want me to write down in the message, or that's
Oh,
okay?
just tell it to me. That's fine.
It's 142.
Yeah.
.250.
Mhm.
.139.
Mhm.
.138.
So let's say, remember I told you you can either ping the domain name or the IP address. Because Amrit has given me the IP address, I'm just going to ping the IP address. Okay. So the TTL, the time, I'm touching the screen. Sorry, the latency timing is pretty much very similar to this. Okay, but from the networking standpoint, somehow my router or my ISP is thinking as that IP address this IP address is much closer because it's probably been given by the IP address, by the service provider as this is the fastest route for me. But this doesn't mean I cannot reach it. I can still reach it. Okay, it just depends on how you get assigned and what. It's just randomized. It's nothing to do with personally. Okay, randomly assigned. Any questions so far, guys? Okay, I do want to stop the things over here because the next class we'll go into trace route and we'll actually see. Remember like individually we try to ping your home. We'll actually see. We'll visually see where it actually stops, and I'll explain to you how this works and why you need to understand this. Is because certain things like there'll become a scenario where you'll be working with two different vendors, and you're probably trying to sign in, and you're probably getting blocked, right? And the vendor might be saying, "Nope, it's on your side. You guys have to deal with it." Where initial testing, you can find out if this is your fault, your team needs to take care of, and you can pass it on to your team, or push back saying, nope, this is the results, this is the data, this is a ping, this is a trace route data that tells me that this is not on our side, this is on your side. So you guys have to figure it out. Okay, so you can give with the tangible data meaning it's a data you can prove that's saying that okay, my analysis or my analytical work is correct. And that is the way for you to move up in IT job. Okay, when you just come up and tell the manager or your team leader, okay, I have done this. Can you check this? Can you check this? It doesn't grow you anywhere. They still think of you as a rookie, right? But when you go in with the attitude, okay, this is where I need to do. You do your job properly. You do beyond your job. That's when you can grow in the role, right? So and I always tell this to people. This is not an instant ratification, right? Meaning you cannot make the six-figure salary instantly. There is no such thing in life. You guys are adults. You guys know that in life, there is no such thing as instant rewards. We have to work hard for it. We have to work hard for it. And one day it'll click in, right? But we must believe in the process and have full commitment and consistency to pass this, right? So being able to put in effort will definitely make you guys move up into the six-figure salary. That's fine, but you guys need to start somewhere, right? So think like Analyst. That's the whole point of this course, okay? And part of this, and again, I'm going to tell you guys, part of the next week Monday batch, part of the next week Monday courses, you guys will have to watch the week 1 and week 2 videos. There's about 6 videos in it, I believe. I'll show you guys. Sorry, and I'll go through this on the next week too, but there is the week 1, there's 2 videos, which is week 1. And then week 2, there's 3-4 videos that you guys must watch before you join the next week class, okay? And this is going to give you more context to what we talked about today, and additionally what we're going to talk about tomorrow, which is going to be, not tomorrow, sorry, next week, Monday, which is the 15th, sorry. Yeah, 15th. which is going to be the 15th. So we're going to be talking more on it and more hands-on activity with troubleshooting and network-related troubleshooting for next class. It will get fun for you guys to do the activity as well. And we'll actually try to visit. You guys will try to cross trace route, ping, and those type of things, so you guys can actually have hands-on experience with this. And this is very much needed for your job role as well, okay, to be successful. Now that is over, I want to hear from you guys. How was today? Do you guys have any questions? Individually, I do want to hear from each of you guys. Let me just stop this. I just want to hear how was today for you guys, and any questions so far from today's class, the first class. I'm gonna start off with Amrit. Yeah, go ahead, Amrit.
Yes. Yeah, so far like everything, it was perfect. Like I understood everything, like whatever you like taught me. So it was good. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Amrit. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Anthony.
Yeah, so far it's been great, and like I explained to you, it's my first time, and I'm happy that it's gone this way, and I'm looking forward to the next class. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And every class is the same thing too. We'll have a small lecture, and again, don't ever be shy to ask questions. I encourage you guys to ask questions, and once you start asking questions is when you go. Trust me. And when you're saying, I want this, I don't know this, can you explain to me again? Please do. And I will gladly take the time to explain it again and in a different way. And if you can tell me, hey, I don't understand this in this way, can you put it in a different format? And I'll try to think of a different format to put it in for you guys so you guys understand. Okay. Thank you so much. And Wamo, I'm sure I'm pronouncing your name incorrectly. It's just I'm reading off of the Google Google Meet.
Thank you very much. Everything was very clear, very simple. I enjoy you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead, Amrit.
Okay, so like where I can like get these videos, like or your site. So like I still don't have any, I think.
No problem. So
URL there.
once this class is over, give it about a couple hours. So Google, it'll take us, I think it depends on the class timing, man. It takes us, this cloud recording gets posted in our Google within 2 to 3 hours. Once it's ready, we'll upload it to our private YouTube channel. We'll post on the LMS, but for the people who have joined this in this batch as well, you guys will get a WhatsApp message with the video as well. So you guys can, because there's a lot of people that's supposed to join, but because they had some, one, they're in mountain timing zones, or they had work that unfortunately they could not get off. So we will send all of them to you guys. So don't worry, give it about a couple hours and you guys will have video in your WhatsApp, okay? And for the people who have LMS access, you guys will be able to go into LMS, but we'll send it to you the first video. No problem. Couple hours.
And like how to reach LMS actually that was my question. So like
okay, so once you register for the course, the staff, they will create you LMS access.
Okay.
They'll give you a username and password and ticketing. Well, right now the ticketing system will be next week. We'll give you your own private login for the ticketing system and everything.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
No problem at all. No problem. Thank you so much. Lewis.
Yeah, it was very good for my first time also. It is very easy to understand, even though I speak only French. I completely understand your accent and everything. I'm just looking forward to the next course.
Thank you, Lewis. Thank you. Perfect. Okay, so I think someone had to jump off. No problem at all. All right, guys. So if you guys have not signed up yet, please reach out to the team. They can help you set up the account and everything. And you guys will, whoever signed up, you guys will get another message on WhatsApp with a permanent meeting link for our classes going forward, and that'll be the same link you'll use for the next 10 weeks. And next week as well, I want to go through some of the etiquette I want to see you guys use in email communication and meeting joining. I'll talk about it next class. Okay, don't worry about it. Nothing too major. Okay, so thank you so much, guys, all for joining on time and participating in the class. And I'm very excited for next class because we're gonna have a lot of hands-on activity and then go into Azure as well. So we're gonna be going head in deep. So welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a nice day, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you. Take care.